happy Labor Day to our friends from off of America, home of sweet apple pie from your grandma, the Family Guy program, Rounders, Kelsey Grammer from Cheers and or Frasier, and the moon, the next site of Waffle House. Enjoy your sleepy day, America. Stay in your pajamas, and I'll give you the wrestling news. We have a Matt Hardy injury update, backstage details on a WWE team's release, and WWE stars respond to new social media policy. We'll talk about it in a bit. So the big talking point from AEW All Out was the awful fall that Matt Hardy took during his Broken Rules match against Sammy Guevara. Tony Khan tweeted out an update yesterday saying, "It's great news, Matt's okay. We sent him to the hospital as a precaution and he has passed the MRI and CT scans. He does not have a concussion and he is being driven home now." There was a lot of concern from Tony Khan and AEW during the All Out media scrum following the match. A lot of people say, and I'm one of them actually, that say that the match should have stopped as soon as Matt took that fall. However, the discussion is that the doctor checked and said Matt Hardy was good to continue. He was happy to continue, so they went straight to the finish of that match and wrapped it up there. But a lot of people saying that the match should have just ended after that fall and they could have figured out the stuff storyline-wise afterwards. It's good to hear that Matt Hardy is home now. He will actually be on AEW Dynamite this coming Wednesday to address, presumably, what happened at All Out. There is some concern, of course, from Matt Hardy's wife, Rebby Hardy, who took to Twitter on Sunday, about 8 o'clock local time. She tweeted that her husband was still in the hospital, and she said, 1,000% concussion. Anyone with eyes could have told you that, though. So Rebby convinced that there was a concussion involved there. Also, she spoke to John Albert, who was a reporter based in Orlando. He asked the question about how AEW cleared Matt Hardy to continue that match. And Rebby responded on his tweets to, "Gee, I wonder, could it be the company trying to justify and protect itself from backlash? Or the family with no stake in this who now has to deal with the repercussions? I guess we will never know." She went on to say that the frustrations that she was airing in that tweet weren't aimed at the reporter per se, but more people who were trying to be, quote, experts in a situation they aren't experts in. So it's good to hear that Matt Hardy is out of hospital, and I'm surprised we will see him on Dynamite, very surprised that he's going to be good to go for Dynamite. But of course, if we know more about this, we will let you know more over at Cultaholic.com. Staying with All Out, Dave Meltzer has given some details on why the tooth and nail match played out the way that it did, why a cinematic match was chosen for the payoff to Britt Baker versus Big Swole. Well, no surprises if I tell you that it is down to the recovery of Dr. Britt Baker. She suffered a broken leg earlier this year, and Dave Meltzer says Britt Baker wasn't ready. She had a broken leg, and they thought that she would be ready for the pay-per-view, but there's no 100% when it comes to healing a broken leg, and I'm not sure about her nose either. So she wasn't ready to do a full-on match, so they did this to hide the fact that Britt couldn't do a lot, which explains why there was run-ins and assistance and shenanigans all around that. I am hoping that we see Britt Baker make a full recovery and return to the ring. I think if you're going to wrap the women's division in AEW around anybody, it should be Shida and Dr. Britt Baker. Baker becoming the women's champion feels like a certainty at this point. Like easily one of the coolest heels there. I'm a big fan of the work of Britt Baker, so I hope we get to a point where she can work. She can get to a point where she can work full matches again. If you want to know what we thought of All Out, you can check out AEW All Out Graded and what happened at AEW All Out on the Cultaholic YouTube channel right now. Meanwhile, in WWE, we saw just before the weekend the release of the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, now gone from WWE very suddenly. We haven't seen much of them over the last 6 to 12 months. There's been injury woes that have slowed that down, and now we won't see them at all because they are gone. Dave Meltzer says, big surprise. Nobody saw that one coming. Razor was just cleared. He tore his biceps, and as soon as he was cleared, he was cut. I heard the idea was that AOP were not going to be back with Seth Rollins, which was their original role, but they didn't know where they would be. They're both in their 20s. They're shooters, which the company likes. They're both big guys who are agile and they can bump. Paul Heyman wanted to make them his Road Warriors. And Triple H did too, because he even brought in Ellering for them. So it's interesting that those two wanted to make them into Road Warriors, and then Vince just decided that they'd be gone, whatever. Everybody was high on them, and it surprised me, says Dave. And he goes on to finish saying, it's Vince. I don't know what happened. Maybe Vince just thought they get hurt too often. You can imagine the injury woes of the Authors of Pain would have played into their departure. It felt like ever since they got called up to the main roster, they were just dogged by injuries and pushes and de-pushes and such like that. I think wherever they go, they will do all right. Big guys like that with young guys with a big old future ahead of them, they're going to be fine. But I'm gutted that we didn't really see them at full speed on the main roster for Raw. There was talk of Paul Ellering coming back this year to be with them as well. That would have just added to that allure of the Authors of Pain. But that ain't happening now. During a recent stream on Twitch, AJ Styles was reminiscing on his feud with John Cena. Remember all that beat up John Cena stuff that he did? He talked about that and a merchandising proposal for that got shot down by Vince McMahon himself. AJ said that John was so much fun to work with. We did some really good stuff. He was so smooth and easy to work. That whole beat up John Cena thing was just a lot of fun. I actually had an idea for a shirt that said beat up John Cena. But when I pitched it to Vince, he said, you want me to promote a shirt rooting against my top babyface? I just went ahead and let that one go. Gutted. I'd have bought a beat up John Cena t-shirt. Maybe it's the idea that they would have become cool, and that goes against the narrative. So that was AJ Styles talking on Twitch, something that he might not be able to do for much longer. So it came out over the weekend that WWE is changing up their social media policy. Vince McMahon stating that he essentially owns the rights to all of the wrestlers' names, so they can't just go and sell their likenesses on Cameo or on TikTok or on Twitch or on places like that. They've been given 30 days to wrap up whatever they're doing on other platforms, and going forward, WWE wants all partnerships like that to go through them. So it would mean that people wouldn't have their own personal TikToks anymore. It'd have to be a business deal that is funneled through WWE. And there's been a big outcry about this. We have the conversation once again about what it means to be an independent contractor. Like, well, if we're independent contractors, surely we should be able to go and do other things for income. Surely that's what the case should be. Wrestling Observer point out that nobody within the company, none of the WWE stars, actually really know what this all means. The general belief is it means there'll be no more Cameo, no more Twitch, no more sponsorship deals with things like Bang Energy. Yeah, I can see why Vince McMahon wouldn't want other people making money as WWE stars without it going through them. Fightful have added to this, and they've said, thus far, based on the wrestlers that we've spoken to, none plan on ceasing their Cameo or streaming setups. Two specifically noted that if WWE wants them to, they'll need their contracts renegotiated to compensate the limitations and changes. I think it's pretty fair. One of those who has no plans to stop the twitching is Paige. Now, Paige, over the weekend, rebranded her online presence on Twitch as Saraya, using her real name. And she addressed this on Twitch by saying, from now on, it's going to be changed to Saraya, my real name. We're not going to get rid of our Twitch. We are here to stay. We are not going anywhere. Twitch is our house. I am the queen of Twitch. So there's no chance in hell we are getting rid of my stream. We are here to stay. No, guys, I can keep it. It's just Saraya. Just going to have to change it all over to Saraya. Thank you guys for understanding. I know it's going to be a little weird to get used to Saraya, but it is what it is. I'm sure there will be wrestlers who are looking for loopholes around this in order to continue building that profile outside of WWE. And I kind of get that from their perspective. Like, you want something that isn't wrestling, I guess, or something that is very much your own, that you can market yourself with. And if WWE is adamant that that isn't going to be the case, then you need to address the fact that you are calling them independent contractors. If you are independently contracting them, then you really can't stop them from working on other platforms. Surely it's like if you're a plumber and you're working at number 32, you can't take a job at number 47. Because, well, no, you're freelance, but you're contracted to me right now. Now get on with unblocking the toilet. Seems strange, that. So it may possibly be a case if we see less WWE stars on streaming platforms and taking birthday wishes and stuff on Cameo, which means there's a gap in the market. If all the WWE guys are leaving Cameo, maybe there's something we can do with this. I think there's an opportunity, isn't there? Hi, Alan. Hi. I'm really sorry to hear about that war. You know where. I'm sending you lots of love. I hope you get it sorted, and I hope the cream works as well. Because do you know what? That's gonna sting. Thanks very much. That'll be 50 quid. Stay safe. Love you. Bye. Love you. Bye too.